What's going on, everybody? It is your boy DT Sensei. Hey, look, we got a brand new episode for you guys. And look, it's going to be jam packed with a bunch of stuff about training camp. Training camp starts tomorrow for our rookies. And also, we have a very special guest. Yes, sir. We have a very special guest for y'all. Anthony Armstrong, former Washington Commanders wide receiver, will join us to talk about the wide receiver room. So buckle up. This is Command Time with Kayla and DT and your boy Caleb.
Five, four, three, two, one. Yeah, we ready right now. It's about time. I know it's about time. It's about time.
What's up, everybody? It is your boy DT. We got Kayla. We got Caleb. What's up, y'all? How y'all doing today?
Good. Good. Rookies is coming tomorrow. Football is about to start back up. I love it. I love it.
Our rookies returning back tomorrow. We got the vets coming in early next week. About the middle of next week, everybody goes training camp get started. Things are rocking and rolling.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. So we obviously know that training camp for the rookies is tomorrow. So Jada and the gang will be joining tomorrow and get things started for training camp. And then the veterans will start to trickle in and things like that. So what are y'all expectations for the rookies tomorrow before the veterans come in?
I just want to see. We probably won't, as fans, get to see this as much, but I want them to see what they retained from the early springtime. See what anything they put to the test. Just the small things. They probably pretty much be in the classrooms working out pretty much tomorrow, just getting reacclimated, getting their bodies reacclimated to the sport again after being out for some weeks. Just what they retained from after taking that break.
I just want to see the rookies get acclimated. Just want to see them in action. I know it's going to be, you're not going to have pads on or whatever, but just want to see them get acclimated and learn the playbook, man.
Okay, so I think for me, what I really want to see for the rookies is just how the game speed is for them now, because now we know they had a couple of weeks off trying to train with themselves, trying to get acclimated back to NFL speed, and let's see what they know so far before majority of the veterans and stuff come in. But it's going to be an exciting process to see, Jaden getting some reps, guy like Sam Hartman get reps, Johnny Newton. Let's see his status, how healthy he is, and a bunch of other rookies that we're pretty excited for. So out of all the rookies outside of Jaden Daniels, who's the one that you want to watch for the coming days that want to shine?
You just picking one?
You can do one or two. I don't mind.
Mike Shammerstrew and Luke McCaffrey.
If you want that direction, I'm going to be looking at Coleman to see how he bears out. They're going to be placing him in out of the lineup with Cornelius Lucas. So I just want to see how that looks. I just want to see how Coleman looks in pads. That's when you can really evaluate the offensive linemen when they're in pads. But early on, they really won't be in pads. But that's one player I'm going to keep my eye on throughout the training camp.
Yeah, so Coleman is definitely one person I will watch as well. I'm gonna say the other guy later because this is gonna be the main topic for tonight. But another guy that I would really like to see in this room, I would like to see how does Dominique Hampton fits within the secondary. We drafted him in the 5th round, and we know we pretty deep at the safety position. You got guys like Reeves, you got guys like Percy Butler who could be on the bubble. You got guys like Quan Martin and stuff. Where does he fit in this safety room? Is he going to be like a guy like Kayron Kurtz when he was with Dallas and he was able to move around a little bit, or he's going to be some type of enigma player and stuff like that until he fully develops? Wonder what kind of player he's going to be within this defense and mostly on special teams that we'll see.
That's interesting. So I'm talking about Dominic Hampton, right? So
Yeah.
I know we talked about him last pod. So
It's like a thumper.
yeah, he's not a true free safety. Of course, I think he's more of a strong safety or a guy that you put around the box. That's how I see him as far as what he did in Washington. He was really good at doing what his responsibility was in Washington. So we're going to see. I said you can use him in certain dime packages on defense when it comes to certain situations in the against the pass. So I don't think he's a guy that you could probably put on a receiver. Maybe a guy that you can probably put on a tight end or
Especially not year one. I think
yeah.
we may see more from him next year.
Yeah. So I think it's a guy who we use on a tight end. Just my opinion.
That's
Okay,
what this defense has struggled with over the years. Tight end. Tight end.
now is there an undrafted guy that has caught your eye during the offseason that you are very intrigued in how they're going to fit?
Kayla already know. Me and Kayla already.
Like I think this defense. I think he's gonna be like the underdog. Nobody's really gonna talk about him much, but he should have been drafted. Honestly, in my opinion, all the games I've watched of him,
Oh my
he's
god!
he's. I think he's gonna end up being a solid corner. Not year one flashy, but I do think he ends up on this roster at the back end.
Yeah,
He's gonna take advantage of it.
yeah, I would say Chico too. I think he fits what Quinn likes to do. So, as far as some press situations, he has the physical abilities to do it. He has the, I think he has, like I said, he has the physical abilities to do it. So I think he fits well with what Quinn likes to do. Press 6'1". He's not like he's a pretty strong guy from what his NFL drafts profile looks like. So that's maybe a little sleeper, man. I don't know. He may be seeing getting some playing time. He may be. They may ease him in gradually as the season goes on. Hopefully, because
I do think he sneaks on the roster though. And another guy is Marquis St. Jean. That's another guy that I think may sneak on the roster on the final 53, depending on how his camp goes. He did make a play in the spring, and I think he did get a little nicked up on another day. But other than that, I think he will make an impact. Definitely with the crowded back half of the wide receiver room. If he shows he got a little bit of something, he can take over. He got a little bit of just a little bit of size on him. I think that's another guy to keep an eye on that we got undrafted free agent wise.
Yeah, I like Jackson as well. I think he could have definitely a opportunity in this wide receiver room to compete for some snaps and also on special teams. When you watch him, he was a very reliable target. He looks very smooth route running, but we'll see how he does this training camp in 2024. So, Kayla, you wanted to have a topic before we get to the main course of the show, and I think it's going to be interesting from our takes of this list that we're about to do in a few minutes.
So going into the 2024-2025 season, we're going to do one more right before, probably a week before the season starts. But right now, who are your top five wide receivers going into the season?
Who's going to start first? We're going to start with the NFL ambassador.
Who?
You.
Top five.
Your top five receivers.
Kayla, we doing this off production.
Shout out to everybody in the chats and comments. Click like, subscribe to the channel as well.
Yards, touchdowns, all-purpose yards.
So we're going by production.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'll include production in there. you're talking about recently this past year, um, who you would definitely say Tyreek Hill. Um, Justin Jefferson was hurt, but Jettis is still top two, if not the best in the league. So Jettis, Tyreek. Um, he a cowboy. If I'm being objective, you said production, Kayla, so CD Lamb will be on that list.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna put him up there too.
CD Lamb will be on that list. So you could put him on Raw on and you're going on production, Kayla.
They're all production.
You're going just straight up production. So Tyreek Hill, CD Lamb it will be Amon Raw, and it will be, you could say Puka was fourth in receiving yards. I mean, if you care about the touchdowns, then Mike Evans would be on that list too, because Mike Evans just produces touchdowns. He's a touchdown machine. He had 13. Him and Tyreek had the same amount. Um, but for me, I'd probably say Tyreek, Jettis, CD. Um,
Sit on Raw.
yeah. then I probably put damn. I may put Devontae on there. Cash, she said project. She said production. That's what she said, based off production. This is what she said. If I'm doing mine, I'm not putting CD in my top five. Respectfully, and it's not even because he's a cowboy. I just feel like other people they just show up and when the big games matter. And CD's stats in the playoffs are not that good if you look at them. But that's another topic to discuss. But sure. CD, Tyreek, Jettis, Devontae. Um, who's my fifth one? Jamar Chase. I don't care what nobody say. Jamar Chase is a top five receiver.
Oh, you just said Mike Evans was your fifth one. You can't say.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't put him on my list. I said he was tied with Tyreek in touchdowns. I didn't put him on my list.
Oh, okay. Just making sure.
Not on my list. He's top 10, but he's not on my list. But there's a lot of talented receivers in the NFL. So it's like 20 receivers or 15 that you can make a case to say, yeah, this guy's good. No, my guy's good too. So it's a lot. Go ahead, DT. Since I went first, you go ahead. Host, Mr. Ricks.
Bro, what did I tell you about saying that? So to me, I understand doing production, but I understand mainly like what have you done for me lately. And to me, there are some guys that have, I believe, risen up to that list. I would have to say, to me, on a personal preference, I think Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. Then I would go with Tyreek. And I'm not, if I put Devontae three, it's not because, like he's bad or anything. I just think situation wise, what he's dealing with, he's still making the most. He's still a top three as position. But I just think Justin Jefferson right now, he's so far has caught up to that spot. Then number four, I'm gonna be completely honest, man. Like I think CD is there. I know he's a Dallas Cowboy, but I truly believe CD has arrived to that top five of recognition. And if the fifth spot is tricky because you got guys like everybody will probably say Cooper Cup. Um, a lot of people will probably say AJ Brown on production stuff. I do agree. If it had to be me, I think it's between Jamar and Stephon, but I'll probably lean with Jamar based on the youth a little bit. We know Stephon is still going to produce the way he's going to produce, but I just think like ultimately where Jamar Chase is, we saw what he can do. He's just undeniably that talented. So that's to me my top five wide receivers in the league.
Okay, so with me, Justin Jefferson is definitely one. Jettis, he's a dog. Tyreek, two, of course. 3 is where it gets a little tricky for me. Is after watching that receiver show, I'm gonna go ahead and put Devontae up there at 3. I'm gonna put Jamar at 4, CD at 5.
Okay, hold on. I was reading something. Repeat your list again.
Okay, so I got
Not a bad list.
JJ, and then I got Tyreek,
Mm-hmm.
and then I got Jamar. No, Adams.
She had
Adams.
Devontae, then she
Devontae
had
Adams.
Jamar and CD.
Yeah, wide receiver that gave me a little bit more insight. And then he's a dog still as well. And then I got Chase, and then 5 I got CD.
That's not a bad list, but we also have to understand this when it comes to wide receivers. Like every year, it is really a fluid
Little Jim.
list every year because one guy can have a highly productive year and the next year he has like a low tier year. What I'm saying? Like it flips majority of the time, and everybody's going to have a different list in terms of how they tier these wide receivers.
For sure.
People will say AJ Brown's a top 5 receiver, which I mean I wouldn't argue with that. I think that's actually a good argument to have.
Would you take Amon Ra or AJ Brown?
Amar AJ Brown.
It's gonna sound nasty. I may take Amon, bro. I may take Amon Ra. And that's not even because of the receiver show. He can block. He can run every route. He can get yak too. But AJ Brown, he's just like his route diversity or diversity of his route tree. It's not that big. He'll run a slant. He can run a drag. Of course, he can run a drag, and then he'll run a post. You'll never see him out people up like CD, JJ, and Amon Ra do, or Stephon Diggs. Like AJ Brown may not even be he's not even a top 5 route runner, not even close. But I don't know, man. I may go over Amon Ra. I like that route running ability.
I think it's just a preference thing, man.
It is.
I would probably go with AJ, but I wouldn't be mad about Amara. I just don't. I see Amara as a top 10, but not really top 5 wide receiver.
I think he's around.
I think
6, 7, 8.
Amara 8.
But his numbers was ridiculous this year. He had the second most, third most receiving yards. Third most receiving yards. Like he went crazy. He had over 1,500 receiving yards. So,
all right, I'm about to read some of the comments real quick. It's booming right now. So okay, so we got Breeze. That boy Breeze. He has Justin Jefferson, Jamar, Devontae, Tyreek, and AJ Brown in his top 5. We got the eyes for Breeze. How he's not top 5. I mean, that, like I said, it's a preference for a lot of people, man. Breeze also said Amara, CD, and Steph are in the 6 to 10 range. I don't have a problem with that, man. That's, like I said, it's a very fluid list every year. It changes up. Some people have a preference.
Nobody knew Puka Nacua was going to break out the way he did. At all. It's always one little gem in every draft class.
Yeah. But I know everybody's been waiting for this. So let's all get prepared and get settled as former Washington Redskin receiver Anthony Armstrong is on the show. Anthony, what's going on, man?
What's up, DT? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. You still look like you can play.
Man, it's funny. It's funny you say that. I just recently came across the Associated Press website. They have all pictures from like forever, everything they've taken pictures of. So I'm looking at pictures from 2010 season, and I was like, man, I looked young. My hairline was good. I mean, I had no facial hair. I looked like a baby out there. But my people say I still look the same. So I could
Mhm.
probably get out there about 17 to 20 plays, two deep balls, no special teams, strictly slot work, get a couple first downs, and get the hell off the field.
Can you hit the Dougie?
Oh, absolutely. That's always going to be ready. Man. That's always going to be
Breeze
ready.
said you hit the Dougie one time.
Yeah, Breeze know what it is, man. You got to hit that thing, man. Shoot. That's what's up, man. It's good to glad to be on here. It's my mama's birthday
Happy
today.
birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, when Kayla hit me up, I was like, "Yeah, we can go Wednesday," and then we booked my mom to come over. So she's over here chilling. But I was like, "Hey, I got work to do, so I'm gonna go
Well,
hop
yeah,
on this
let me sing happy
podcast.
birthday to her, okay?
Go right ahead."
Oh, she's there.
Which now she's in the other room. She's not. She's not in here watching, but she's. I can relay the message.
Okay, I just okay. This is okay.
Okay, Kayla. So this is your point of the show.
Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna dive into your former receiver training camp is starting up tomorrow for the rookies. Next week, the veterans return, and it's been a lot of questions about Washington's wide receiver room, especially with all the outside noise about IU wanting to be with us, and then also what depth do we really have after we have Terry John had a bad year last year. How do you feel about our wide receiver room as a whole?
I think it's a group where when you lose Curtis Samuel, regardless of what he had done, that's still some production and a veteran player that you're losing. So now you, like you said, you're looking at Terry and Jahan. Those are your top two guys. And after that, who's going to fill in to be that next guy? Is Diami going to have a breakout season and make some plays and find himself a role on this offense? I see some people shake their head no. So it's kind of not sure. But then you look over there at Luke McCaffrey, and they put that guy everywhere. I've seen him carrying the ball, getting handoffs. He's been working with Jaden all over the place, and so he's going to find his way onto the field. And so, really, it gets to be a question: is there really a true third receiver that you can work with? It may be a combination of Eckler. It may be a combination of those tight ends. But it's not like you're going to roll. You don't have to roll out three wide receiver sets with this offense because you have some other pass catchers. But right now, it's probably a tick down from what it was last year. I still think it's a talented group of receivers, but you have to prove a lot based on what happened last season.
All right.
I definitely agree with that, Anthony. I know people talk about the wide receiver two, and then down in the depth of the receiver room. So some people they want, as you know, they want Ayuk because
Yeah.
of course they want another dog at the receiver position. He's a dog. He can block. He can run routes. He can catch. He can get yak for you. Just about anything you want him to do, he can do. He can run every route tree. And then some people don't like Jahan after that, his sophomore year, which was a bad year for sure.
Yeah.
Not everybody had a good year. Like even Terry himself, he barely got a 1,000 yards.
Yeah.
They had to do a trick play at the end of the season to get him his yard.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
they got it. They got it for Terry, but I mean, I think Ayuk he'd be a welcome addition, especially to help Jaden come along too, right?
Mhm.
Because now you get a guy who's had production increase over the past 4 years of his career, right? Like he's actually working his way up. He's not just the best available receiver that's out there. He's actually proven it on the field. So when you're potentially having to pay somebody 28, 29, $30 million, price tag's high regardless of who it is.
Uh-huh.
But at least he's improving, right? So you would
Yeah.
have to think he's going to still be able to do some of those same numbers. But now what makes it tough is that Terry got to eat too, right? And so is he going to get to his 1,000? I think he still can get there, but it's not going to be a 1,500-yard Brandon Ayuk and then 1,200 for Terry, and then now you got Jahan that's not making that much yards wise. So how it would get split up is going to be different. But now that San Francisco's going to play hardball, they're like, no, we're not going to trade you, and now they're going to put it back on his side to say you're going to show up for training camp, or we're going to fine you these checks. So that's a lot of money to be getting fined. I would say bring your ass to training camp.
Yeah. I just think, in my opinion, Anthony, people forget. Yeah, I know Jahan's rookie year, he didn't have a crazy rookie year, but you could see the flashes of how good he is. I'm not saying he's going to be elite or he's going to be a top 10 or you don't even got to be top 15 for me. But as long as you're consistent and you're available, and he tied for all rookies in touchdowns.
Yeah.
So, whether you want to say it's in the red zone or whatnot, he has sure hands. He can get open. If you want to put him in a slot and everything, then that's fine. But we do have to figure out, I think, the depth of this receiver room. If we're not going to get Ayuk, because adding Luke, I feel like puts more pressure on Diami and probably a little bit on Jahan too.
I don't see McCaffrey getting up to a wide receiver 2 spot.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Jahan would have to either stink it up or knock on wood, just come up
yeah.
injured and be hurt for some time and have to miss some time. It would be tough if Luke McCaffrey. And this is no slight to him, but if Luke McCaffrey is the 2, one, you hope he has a Puka Nacua type breakout season, or you really better go and got to look at getting some more depth, because I mean, a guy who's probably just like 2 or 3 years into playing the position to get to the league, like he's learning it. He's learning the position. I mean, I was learning as I was going through too, but
yeah,
I had been playing the position for a while, so
yeah.
he can get it done. But it'd be
Granted,
interesting to see.
even though he played at Rice, he was a former quarterback, so he
Yeah.
understands what defenses want to do, and that helps. You got guys like Julian Edelman, who used to be a quarterback, and he played receiver.
Yep.
You saw how successful he was. I'm not saying he's going to be next Julian Edelman, of course, but
For sure.
it's just an example of how he can help not only the team on offense, but also the quarterback as well. So it's going to be interesting to see.
And how do you feel about Diami Brown? You did mention his name as well. Like, that's one player that I'm pretty much like. If he's cut, somebody else beats him, I'm pretty okay with it. He's been here several years. He's not a top pick. Last year was my year of give Diami an opportunity. Yeah, and it gave a few times. He still didn't take advantage of it. Like, it's like he had to do something. You got some type of touchdown, some type of yards. You understand you're blocking tight end, but this is the NFL. You can't block like every single week. That's not going to get you paid. You got to eat in the end zone. You got to get yards. You gotta work. Be out there. If you do not want to throw that much, make a play to make yourself stand out so you can get on the field. Like, he needs to work on like the small things.
No, yeah, he's somebody that just needs, like you say, build some consistency and just get some on-field production. The opportunities will come as you make plays in training camp. I mean, I remember Jason Witten would say, he's like, make a play every day, and that was kind of my mantra as well, is just get out there and try to find a way to flash. And as you flash more, you get more opportunities, and eventually that should carry over to preseason, carry over to the regular season, because we mentioned already, you got top two guys up there. There are positions for him to make a spot on this team, top 4, top 5 receivers. But you do have to consider special teams, right? Is he going to get in the mix for the kick return side of things? Like, if you find a way to break a kick in the preseason, he'll be on somebody's roster, and he'll probably be in Washington. So it's not just wide receiver, though. You know what I mean, Kayla? Because once you get past 1 and 2, and then 3 don't eat that much, like 4 and 5, they're really there for special teams. Okay, they're not there to have big seasons. He might catch for 300, 400 yards this year, but it's going to be, how can he help special teams? Can he help in the return game? That's where Diami is going to find himself on that field.
So, Anthony, with Terry, we know the whole story with Terry. He was drafted in the 3rd round, and he's played with multiple quarterbacks. He's also been in multiple offenses so far. So in comes Cliff Kingsbury, and in comes Jada Daniels coming to this Washington team. With knowing about the air raid system and how they are highly productive wide receivers, and we know Jaden. We've seen his ascension from leaving Arizona State to LSU to win the Heisman and become the number 2 pick. Do you think this is the year Terry finally reaches that type of ceiling season that we truly wanted for him?
I think that you would like to think it could be. That sounds like a fancy way of saying I really don't know. I went and looked at the past Cliff Kingsbury offenses in Arizona. There was one year where DeAndre Hopkins had like 1,700 yards. But for the most part, everybody kind of topped out at about 1,200 at the most, right around 1,000. So it's going to be interesting how it goes. Are they going to force the ball to Terry in this offense, or is it going to be more of take who's open type of a thing? But then his personality doesn't seem to me as somebody who's going to walk in and say, yo, I need 1,500 yards this year. Like, give me 10 targets a game every game. Like, if he said that, then yeah, we'll get those yards. But he's more of a team player, right? And I would like to think Jaden's running ability is going to allow some scramble drill that's going to get some big plays to Terry. And then just to be able to move the ball around, hopefully there's some more run and catch. I thought they were going to get a lot of that last year with EB at OC. That didn't happen. So maybe you get some more run and catch for Terry. I would love to see him get him a good 12, 1,300 yards and really be able to put a stamp on saying he's one of the top 15, top 12 receivers in this league.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you mentioned because I know you mentioned D Hop being on Arizona. What Cliff likes to do, he does target his number one guy. Like I think D Hop had 160 targets. That was top 5 in the NFL that year. So
D Hop also gonna tell you, throw me the rock.
yeah,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
that
D Hop
too.
going in there saying, I need the ball.
That
You know
that
what I
that too.
mean?
That too. Yeah, and Terry's an unselfish guy, but Cliff. I've been saying this, Anthony, but I believe Cliff is going to run the ball.
Well,
You
I
look
think
at
that's why they brought in Brian Johnson from the Philly. I
yeah,
think that's why he's in there to help with the
yeah.
running game out of the shotgun aspect of things.
Yeah, even because if you look at the rushing stats with Cliff, they've been top 20. So he has no issue running the ball when he has to. He's
Sure.
not going to be stubborn on 3rd and 1 or 3rd and 3 or 2nd and 4. He will run. He will run that football. Whether it's going to be with the QB, whether it's going to be with Eckler or B Rob, he'll run the
I mean,
ball.
even C-Rod even gets to run the ball.
Yeah, even him too. So I do believe Terry is going to get his targets. I think he's going to get 1,000 yards this year anyway. My only issue is just how is the other guy going to fit in. So I'm just curious to see that. How is Luke going to fit in? How is Jahan going to fit in? Then you got Ben Sennett, who I'm high on,
Yeah.
especially in this offense. I think he's going to help Jaden be that security blanket. That's
Yeah.
how I see Luke and Ben Sennett in this offense. Just
Yeah.
them being that guy that he can rely on 3rd down. He got Terry for that too, but just that security blanket. I'm hoping they can be that for him.
Yeah, I'm looking for creativity. I mean, you talked about Sennett. Like, what position does he play?
Yeah.
Everything but wide receiver, right? Fullback, H. Like, give you that Chris Cooley vibe. You know, like you're gonna see him on the field in multiple positions. And that I saw the Joe Witt press conference from back in OTAs, and he was just saying the benefit that Washington has right now is that nobody knows what they're gonna do. On defense, you don't know what you're going to get. On offense, you don't know what you're going to get. You got so many different minds that are just pouring into the pot, and they're making this hellified gumbo, this big-ass pot of chili, right? And they just got different little spices that they're adding, and we won't know what it looks like until we see it. So you could see a lot of personnel games get played. Like, they could roll out with a regular personnel, 2 receivers, a tight end, 2 running backs. You could have B-Rob and hell, the clip that the screenshot that Ayuk shared. It had Rodriguez and B-Rob, but hell, you could easily have Eckler and B-Rob in the backfield. Now you got a route running back. You got a running back that can both of them can run. You got Sennett or Ertz that can run at tight end. So there's so many options, motioning people out. I expect to see creativity in that sense to generate mismatches and make it even easier on Jaden to have some people running wide ass open if at all possible. So I'm excited to see how creative they can get.
Now I will say I said this last week on the pod too. The thing about Miami, people. I know some people don't really care too much for him, especially with that last recent post he had. But he really fits well. His skill set fits with the offense. He's a deep threat receiver. Go ball, go ball. That's Terry likes that too. That's his. Like, you can't really press Terry to the dirt because one of Terry's underrated attributes is his release and how strong he is. So that go ball with Cliff, you may see Miami in there. You may. I know some fans don't like that, but you may see him in there. Some of these, he fits within what Cliff likes to do.
Yeah.
He kind of does. I'm not saying he's going to be successful. We don't know, but just his skill set and what
he can make an impact though, because you talk about that speed, right? Once you put the speed out there, they're gonna have to respect it. All right,
And then you're running spread offense too.
you run the spread offense. You got some speed, and whatever that clip was of Jaden on the board with Brian Dayball, and the guy was trying to say that Jaden is dumb and doesn't know what he's talking about. The man says he's like, "What do you want me to do?" He's like, "Throw a touchdown." Like that's his mentality, right? I don't know how much he knows the offense, but everything that I've read and heard about Jaden this offseason, this guy is in there. He's the first guy in the building. He's watching the tape. He's VR headset practicing plays before he even gets on the field to practice plays. I'm not tripping on this guy's YouTube interpretation of Jaden saying, "What do you do on first down? Throw a touchdown."
And he really wasn't wrong.
He wasn't wrong. He's like, "I'm going to throw a tub."
If you look at the board, it's the slot fade, and he's throwing that multiple times.
So you give me that mindset. If I got De'Ami Brown on the slot fade, I get up. If I get a matchup, you look over, say, "Bet, I'm throwing it to you." Rex Grossman used to do that to me. He'd get in the huddle, and he wouldn't even look at the coverage. He'd get in the huddle and be like, "Double go," and look right at me. And I'm like, "I bet." I already know what it is.
And you know who else runs a slot fade really well, Anthony? My boy
Jahan. Luke. He did have a couple. Good. Yeah, Luke is he is a hard-working dude. He's faster than you think. That 4.4 speed is kind of like, oh, okay, all right. I didn't know you had that in you, but he's got the pedigree.
Yeah, so, he had the same amount of
make some plays.
He had the same amount of contested catches as Roma Dunze in college. So
there you go.
So I'm just saying. I'm not saying like when I say this, and I'm not saying these guys gonna be elite. I'm just giving you what they have done and what they can possibly do here if they can figure out a way how to use them.
Oh yeah, that is the best thing. That's the puzzle that we get to wait to see. Let it be opened and displayed for all of us. I'm watching along with you, Caleb.
Hopefully, man.
I kind of find it funny that now everybody was trying to clown Jaden for the whole post and stuff like that. Until now, the latest episode, they showed a clip of like, "Are you willing to trade up for Jaden?" And Dayball's like, "Yeah." Now everybody's like, "Oh shoot, we could have got Jaden Daniels."
Yeah, I mean, look, you look at that Drake May and Jaden Daniels thing. I always feel like there are some guys who are just very good. They're smart, just very smart. They know what the offense is inside and out. They can make the reads all day. Cover 2, I go from here to here to here. Cover 1, I go from here to here to here. Like that's just automatic robotic. But the bad thing is sometimes those quarterbacks get stuck in that and they can't get off of the fact of saying, I got a matchup right here on my slot fade. I know my read is this, but I got speed on the safety in the slot. I'm throwing a touchdown. Sometimes you get in the league, you got to make those plays. You don't always get those opportunities. You got to take advantage when you can. So hearing my quarterback say I'm going to throw a touchdown, like that's where his mindset is. He's going to throw a touchdown. It's a touchdown or he's going to go somewhere else. In college, he didn't throw but 4. He didn't throw that many interceptions.
Yeah, he only threw like 4.
Yeah, I think it was 4. And I felt like I was wrong when I said and thinking that. So 4 interceptions. He won the Heisman. It's enough to tell me that he's going to be good. It's not like it's a Jamarcus Russell situation.
And he threw 0 interceptions against the blitz. So that's another thing too.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be interesting to see, man. So with this receiver room.
Yes, indeed. I think it's good, though. I think it's solid. I mean, but now are any of these guys my top in the league right now? No. Terry would be the best of them. Y'all were talking about it when I joined on here. I mean, my top 5, and this is in no particular order because the thing is for me is that some of these receivers get schemed open. When you watch the tape, you can see them motioning, shifting, moving somebody. Say, hey, Justin, you're not going to be out there on the team's best cornerback all game. Let's put you in motion and let you go against the linebacker. Terry stays his tail out there on the left all the time against whatever corner is there and doesn't move. And that right there makes you predictable so they can take you away versus coverage. So if I'm looking at my top 5, obviously you got to go, Justin Jefferson's up there. Tyreek is still up there. Y'all were mentioning Amon Ra. He I don't think he gets enough credit, but he ain't top 5 for me just yet. Who else in there? CD's been balling. Jamar's kind of coming off of a slower year. Stephon Diggs, a little bit bumpy leaving Buffalo. He's a guy that's going to tell you he wants to rock too. So I think what you're getting to now is that there are some guys who are going to take over games regardless of where they go. And then there's some guys who have to be used in the best possible situation, right? There's a lot of talented receivers out here in this game, but
Yeah.
a lot of them just kind of have to be in the right spot. I mean, quietly, Mike Evans has just continually been one of the best to play the game ever.
Yeah.
He gets no love, right?
He's a,
Keenan
he's a
Allen,
he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, not even a question.
right? Keenan Allen's been a guy that's just been always doing stuff, but he just doesn't have the highlight reel plays as some of these other guys do. So, and then look at George Pickens coming up and Garrett Wilson. You know, those guys are quickly making plays. So easily, whatever was top 5, you can easily go like top 10 and argue for any of those guys to be in a top 5 list.
Yeah. You mentioned Terry. Go ahead, Kayla. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what about all time? Who are your all time top 3 favorite wide receivers?
My
These
favorites.
3 are just dogs, straight up dogs.
My favorites of all time, man. Number 1, Randy Moss. And this is in no particular order, but Randy Moss, that was a guy that you saw him do his thing, and he has a own verb. Like the guy has a verb when you make a catch on somebody. So he's on my list just because of how he was able to change the game, throw his hand up and go up and catch just about anything. I remember watching the game against Dallas on Thanksgiving. I was like, Jerry, you should have drafted this guy. Now he is literally eating on y'all on Thanksgiving. Like that was crazy to see him do that. Number 2, another one that's up there. I mean, obviously you can go Jerry Rice. You can put him in that mix just for what he did, the records that he set, like they're never going to get touched. But my third one, this is a guy I really started modeling my game after in college, is Marvin Harrison. When he had 140 something receptions, he only lined up on the right side. He was 6 foot barely, 175. I was in college like 160, so I'm like, I can relate to you. I can't really relate to T.O. being 6'3", 220 some odd pounds. So I like the guy that was a little bit smaller, strong hands, ran great routes. Marvin Harrison is one of my best all time. I mean, obviously he's a Hall of Famer, so he's my favorite receiver of all time.
That's a good list, man.
Appreciate it. Another name I would throw in there though, Calvin Johnson, just because I mean,
one of one.
Yes.
One of one.
Yes, and to come from Georgia Tech, they were just running the ball like that. And they're like, you got this big old 6'5" dude over there that y'all ain't throwing the ball to every other play, but
ran a 4.3 40. He can run routes.
Yeah. I mean, they were double pressing him in the red zone like a gunner. Like what? Like for real? Like we would rather put 2 people out here and have a small light box just so y'all don't throw this fade. Like so in the league, you got to pick a way that you're gonna get beaten. You say we're not gonna let 81 do it, and if y'all run it down our throat, then so be it.
So, Anthony, let me ask you this: since we're talking about, I know you mentioned Terry, you did mention where he lines up at, and I got the numbers right here. He lined up outside 643 times compared to, and this is this past year. Compared to in the slot, it's only 289. I've been saying for years since he's been there, especially his rookie year. His rookie year, he went low-key went a little nuts. I think that was his best season statistically, in my opinion. Not just because of the yards, but because of the touchdowns. He scored. Yeah. That's another reason why some people outside the fan base, they don't talk about Terry too much because of his touchdown production.
Yeah.
Because sometimes he doesn't score a touchdown. He'll get you the yards. He'll get you 1,000 yards. He'll get you the receptions. He'll get you a couple of big plays every now and then. But as far as him scoring, like just getting touchdowns in general, I think he had 7 or 8 his rookie year. And I
think it was 7, yeah.
Yeah, and then he beat some of the best DBs in the league. People forget what he did against Stephon Gilmore his rookie year. He had some drops. Dwayne Haskins was a little bit inaccurate. Yeah. But if you go back and look at that film, he cooked them. And that was when Gilmore was an all-pro. So where do you rank Terry as far as what you know from the just Washington's franchise in general?
Yeah, like as in the league?
No. Where do you rank him all time in this franchise?
Oh, man.
As far as what he brings to the table, his skill set and what his production, because you got Art Monk, you got Gary Clark, you got
Santana.
Because there's a post going around. It's not huge in the community, but they were saying Santana or Terry.
Now, see, look,
You know the
now,
old heads gonna
I'm
pick.
gonna stop you right there.
See,
You
that's what
Hey,
I'm
he
not
played with
saying.
Santana now.
you
That's
That's
what I'm
you
saying.
not finna put. I love Terry,
See,
but you're not putting Terry over the Cowboy Killer. I mean
that's what
he's the Cowboy Killer for a reason. He's done
exactly.
it 14 years or however long he played. Like Santana's a dog, inside, outside, you name it, he's gonna make plays. Um, Now I think Terry. I was another pod. I sent a video into Steve and the crew. Terry's on my like Mount Rushmore from like 2020 and on, like recent history. Like Terry is going to be a lot of kids like their receiver of Washington lore. Like so, he's going to go down as one of the guys that people look up to. Now, obviously, it's more than just him. There's the success isn't there with it, but you got Art Monk and the Smurfs and Gary
Mhm.
Clark and Reggie Sanders. Like there was success that came with that team, right? Um, Santana kind of we missed out. He missed out on having a lot of the wins. He got to the playoff a couple of times, but I think Terry's going to be one of those guys in that conversation. Somebody's going to have to always bring his name up and be like, well, what about Terry McLaurin? And then it's going to be like the episode in Coming to America. And they're like, every time I'm talking about Terry, that type of thing. But you got to give him respect, man. I
Yeah,
mean, the fact that he's played with 10, 12 different receivers, and
no
frankly,
quarterback. Yeah,
Just his
all of us have been
personality is just
quarterback.
different. Like he's a different. Like he just has a different personality.
Santana was a dog though.
now, I will say this: if you want the old heads, of course, the older generation, they go pick Santana because just of what he did in big game situations. He showed up not only when he came here 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, but also with RG3, even when he was kind of at the back end of his career. He made plays. He
Yeah.
didn't like the yards weren't there, the production wasn't there, but when a big play was made, he made a big play. So now, if you want to say Terry is the best receiver, probably I think me personally, I think he's better than Pierre. I
Yeah. Well,
And Pierre Garcon, I think people underrate him as far as just what he provided. A sure-handed catcher. He had the most catches in the season at one point,
Yeah.
2013, and he didn't make the Pro Bowl.
yeah.
But he was a running back in a wide receiver's body. When he got the ball, he arrived violently. He'll
Yeah.
truck you, he'll stiff arm you, and then he'll get up and let you know about
That's
it.
true. That's
So
that Haitian in him, man. That's
yeah,
that Haitian in him.
yeah. So, but as far as I just can't put. It's like there's some younger fans who they love Terry, but you can't put him over Santana, man.
Yeah.
Just
It's
can't.
not that's not happening. I can't let it
You
happen.
can't do it. You just can't. You can't.
So I do have another question.
I never said he was better than Santana. Go ahead, Kayla.
But I think you probably feel that way. But I was gonna say, how do you feel like as a whole? Like, what do you think? Like Dan Quinn called it recalibration. What do you think? What this Washington team will be at the end of the season? Like, where do you see this team like at the end of the year after all training camp is over, the games are played? Where do you see this team?
Yeah, I think that I'm an eternal optimist, number one, but I'm realistic in it. And I like to look at things as what's best case scenario. This isn't a Super Bowl team unless they just go on some crazy run, right? I think that a realistic ceiling is to make the playoffs, right? You can make that seventh seed, right? If they didn't have that seventh seed, then I would say they're probably going to be right on the outside of the playoffs, trying to get 7-8 wins. I think the one website has it at 6.5 is the over and under. All right, so if they catch fire and they can beat some teams later on in the year that are going to be tough, I think they'll be fighting and scratching for a playoff spot. That's what I would love for them to get to. That's probably where I think their best outcome will be to try to find a way to 8-9 wins if they can get there. But it's tough when you look on that schedule. You're like, I don't know where you're gonna get it at. But
Yeah.
the benefit for it is low key, and even the stats say they don't travel. I think they travel the least amount of miles as any other team in the league. So like basically from after the Chicago game at home, like it's like Philly, New York, and then they got like one long trip, and it might be to Dallas, and that's about it. So everything is really close. So that leads to their side of being a benefit. So give me playoffs, Kayla. Give me the playoffs.
think I'm not saying my record. I said I'm waiting till the last preseason game before I give my prediction. But hey, but look, last year I was on that EV track.
Hey, I was too. I was too. And I mean, hey, you got to come in there with that level of excitement. But
Yeah,
I mean, I think that what you hear now with the team is a confidence, but it's quiet confidence,
Mhm.
right? Like everybody's like, man, there's something, there's good things going on, and everybody's out here working. I mean, look at the names they brought in. When's the last time you've had this quality and caliber of players get added to the
it's
team?
linebackers. When have we ever had
Yeah, you would
solid linebackers the past?
exactly. They went from a problem position to being
Look
ranked as the best
Condon
in the
playing
league.
linebacker. Like,
Like you got Bobby Wagner. Who would have thought? Would you ever thought Bobby Wagner would have made his way to Washington? You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
If people keep talking about, oh, he's not going to cover it. I said, okay, he may not be the same All Pro Bobby Wagner. However, he's going to have an impact,
oh
whether it
Yeah,
be just as a captain and just his play. Like the front seven, they weren't good against the run this past year with Cody Barton, and then you have Jamin. You just don't know what he's doing sometimes.
yeah,
So Bobby fixes the run defense. If you want to complain about him being a just in coverage, I mean, sure, but when we got London Fletcher here, and you play with him a little bit too, Anthony. London, some people may not say he was elite in
yeah.
coverage as a linebacker, but however, he provided a calm stability to the defense and just to the team.
Oh
And he
yeah,
came in around the same age here, just
yeah,
like Bobby did.
yeah. He
So
commanded respect. He was a guy that was. I've always said it. You're gonna close the door, and have a talk with the defense, have a talk
yeah,
with the team. When he excuse the coaches and say, "Hey, y'all, this ain't it." Right? Bobby Wagner's he brings that level of respect. When he talks, people are gonna listen. And you got to look at Jordan McGee. Like that's a guy who's gonna be a low key baller this year because he gets to
mm,
learn from that guy. Everybody in the building loves him. They speak highly on him. Everybody wanted him to get drafted there. Uh, so he could end up being just a baller, right? He get a year or two behind Bobby Wagner and watching Frankie Louvu work with his energy. Man, you're going to have a player step in and really help take this defense to another level and carry on what Bobby Wagner's helping bring.
yeah, yeah. I definitely agree. I just want this team to be competitive day in and day out. Win or loss, they lose games,
Yeah.
cool. But as long as you don't get embarrassed every Sunday and the point differential is
or play one
crazy,
quarter in the game and then not play the rest of the
I
fourth
I
quarter.
just even if we don't make the playoffs, I just want to see the team being competitive. That's the first step. Be
Yeah.
competitive against the North. You got to play the Browns, the Steelers, the Ravens,
Yeah.
the Bengals. You're
Yeah.
playing premier teams. The Ravens is a Super Bowl. They can get to a Super Bowl, possibly get to a Super Bowl. They got to go through Mahomes, but
Yeah.
they were just in the AFC Championship. If
Yeah.
this team is competing with teams like the Ravens, the Bengals, they're competing with
Burrow,
teams like that, but
step
they're
up.
losing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they lose by 10 or 3, but they're competing and they're a team like, look, when you play us, it ain't gonna be easy.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. So I just need this team to be steady, competitive, and fight every game.
And I
That's what
want
I
to
need
just
to see.
communicate on that field. Like past our teams really wasn't communicating on the field. I want them to play together. And I think that'll make a difference. Before we wrap things up, I do have one last question. So there may be some young little boys, maybe
Uh-oh. You good,
they
Kayla?
may, yes, they may be playing some little leagues. They may be playing flag football. They watch NFL. They watch college. Maybe some in high school. Thinking, what's that next decision when I go to college? What advice would you give anybody that's taking their next steps to play the sport?
Man, I tell you, keep your goals set high, but keep your work on the next step, right? Keep your goals set high on getting to the league or that highest level, but focus on that next step and doing that work every single day, whatever that is for you. And that carries over to any profession. Like whatever y'all trying to do, be focused on that big shiny one that's really waking you up and motivating you, but then get your head down and focus on that next step, because it took me until just a couple years recently to really start taking out memorabilia and putting it on the walls and be like, that was really cool that I played in the NFL, just because I've been so focused on head down chopping wood, right? So that helped me reach the highest level. But you got to make sure you show up every day and bring your best to it, whatever it is. Even if your best is 70% that day, if you feel 70%, bring all of that 70%. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't leave nothing in the tank. Do what you got to do. Show up on purpose with a purpose, and keep grinding.
Amazing words. So where can everybody follow you? Where can everybody stay connected with you at?
Absolutely. Thank you for asking. Rated Armstrong, you see it in the corner. It's over here. Rated Armstrong. That's on Twitter. Hit me up over there. It's really on all the social platforms, so you can follow me. Also, I'm hosting the Believe in Commanders podcast, so I'll be getting back into the season and training camp with more content throughout the week. And if everything is good, I'll break down some tape, and put that out there as well. So we get to talk shop, talk ball, and on X's and O's. So check out Believe in Commanders on all your streaming platforms.
Thank you very much.
Most definitely.
And everybody know where you can follow Caleb.
CXLEBJXSTIN. She always struggle with that. I don't know why.
Follow DT at D Cleveland Jr. You can follow me on Twitter at KPow0922. You can always remember it's never the Eagles' time. It's never the Giants' time. It's definitely not the Cowboys' time. But it's always command time. And to Mrs. Armstrong, I just want to say happy birthday to you. That's about it. Y'all stay safe. No drinking and driving. Have a blessed one.
Thank you for your time, Anthony. We appreciate you.
Yeah, no problem, man. Thank y'all for having me. I really appreciate it.
No problem, man. Thank you.
All right, everybody. You guys can catch us next week, presented by the Fans for Sports Network. This is your boy DT with Caleb, Kayla, and former Washington Commander wide receiver Anthony Armstrong. This is Command Time with the crew. We'll catch you guys next week for the next episode. Y'all stay safe.
Got me feeling so free.